All right. You're gonna do it.
That bitch is telling me what to do.
Bitch. All right. Battle of the Challengers podcast with Vincent Cloud.
And Hardcore Dave.
And this is the challenge, Ride or Dies, episode 1. Don't die for me, Argentina. And let's start at the beginning, Dave, with a boat party. 2 boats, man, going up or down a river. There's a party going on. And all I have written down real quick, though, Aneesa is edited out of this. Apparently, there's a shot of her you could see barely. It's very blurry. Aneesa and her friend were on that boat, and they were taken off. Do you know anything about this?
No. So you're saying that the entire cast knew that she was there?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. Well, it's not like they... Okay, so Aneesa and her friend show up, and Jordan was supposed to show up with Naya, but then Naya couldn't show up last minute, like literally
Really?
last minute. Yeah. And then we're like, Jordan, will you still show up? And he's like, yeah, but how are we going to do this? So after they were filming, they took Aneesa and her friend out of the game, tossed Aneesa's friend, and said, Jordan and Aneesa, you guys are now.
Wow. So apparently Aneesa's ride or die was not a true ride or die because she just let that girl die. She's like, I'm going to ride, you can die. Like, fuck you. That girl's never going to talk to Aneesa again. Like, Aneesa should have, like, put her foot down and be like, yo, we're a couple, you know? She didn't care. She's like, what, Jordan? Oh, that's the best partner I've ever had in a while. So, okay.
Yeah. So we were, I was like, wow, since when are they ride or die? It's all phony. There's a lot of phoniness in this fucking episode.
That makes sense, because when I saw the partners of Aneesa and Jordan, I'm like, I've seen probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 seasons with them together on the same season, and I don't recall one interaction between the two of them ever. Like, it's like they're always there, but they've never interacted. They've never been friends. I don't even know if they've been enemies. Like, this is nothing.
Yeah. The other thing I have written down, though, is Turbo and Laurel clash on a boat, on a yacht clash. So what it stems from, Turbo's like, I was slighted, you didn't pour champagne, you poured everyone champagne except for me. And Laurel's like, I didn't know that, and shit like that. But then part of me is like, Laurel, you don't mind getting in arguments. You don't mind making a slight on someone. So maybe they were both right. Maybe Laurel didn't see Turbo, but then she was like, or I don't know.
I think that's a very disrespectful thing for his culture. Where's Turbo from? Is he like Turkey?
Oh,
okay.
Wait. No, well, he's from Survivor Turkey. I don't know if he's from Turkey. I guess we never looked that up.
I had a coworker. He's Ukrainian, and
oh, God bless. Bless.
Huh? Yeah. And well, I mean, he came over here in the 90s, so he's been here for a while. But yeah.
Oh, well, then never mind.
But the point is, he was telling me a lot of like Russian customs and culture when it comes to drinking. And it's like when you have a friend, like you invite them over, and what you do is, you invite them over for a drink. And then the person who gets invited over, they're going to go over and drink. Well, they bring some meat to eat. So that way the one person has the drink and you bring the meat, so you can bring pork or beef or whatever. So then, then you grill the meat and you drink. And it's like, it's what friends do for other friends. So like if Laurel's pouring drinks for everyone, but doesn't pour him one, that is like a blatant, like, you're not my friend, you're my enemy. Like that's what she's saying to him.
And Turbo decided to bring the beef, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So after this, Turbo is like rocking that sick ass ponytail. I love his look.
It's sweet.
But he's like, Yeah, he's like, I will see you all in eliminate. He's just like, he's going off on everyone. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. I was afraid that he was gonna get like kicked off the season because of his anger issues, and like it's looking like that's gonna happen. Like he is so like amped up and ready to go, and then like you see like his partner, I don't know who she is, but she's just like this girl, and she's just there like, I don't know if she's like a hostage or captive, like does she want to be there? Like she's like, yes, Turbo, yeah, it's my partner, and it's like she looks terrified the whole time. Like,
did you hear that they apparently aren't even dating? They never dated. Producers just put them together because they're from the yeah. And once I read that, and this is before I saw the episode, I was like, I detect no chemistry between these two, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. It does make sense because she doesn't look, she looks like she's terrified of him, but like there's no affection or anything. I was like, it's not like she's putting her arm around him or hugging him or like she wasn't even like, calm down, Turbo, it's okay. Like none of that even. She was just like,
It might go again though to culture. Maybe they're like, girlfriends never like they don't step in, they don't try and calm their man down. They're just like, oh my god, everyone, brace yourselves.
Yeah.
He'll stop when he gets tired, all right?
Yeah.
God. All right. Let's move on to the house, right? Are you ready to pass to the house?
Yeah.
Okay. Colleen, the mole, remember? She's the German
blonde girl.
Yeah, she's talking to Fessy in the pool, or
whoa.
Faisal?
I was like, who's Fessy? There's no Fessy on this season. Faisal?
How do you pronounce it?
Faisal? Faisal? Fessel? Fasal?
Fessel?
I think Fasal might be it.
But either way, Fasal is up to his old tricks. He's macking on girls in hot tubs.
Yeah.
Even though he really doesn't do anything, he really doesn't say anything. He's just there. He's like, I'm just so huge and an Adonis. I'll just mutter a few words. Chicks will melt, bro. Right. And Colleen, though. Okay, do you blame Colleen for this? She says she was from Love Island, Germany, and she's not. She's from the Mole. To me, she was in a tough spot because you don't want to just say I won for being a fucking liar. I don't know. It's tough.
Like this is like common knowledge shit that's on the internet. Like,
not for Fasal.
Yeah, not for him, but like who's the one guy who was saying like, hey, he knew, like he looked it up. Like you can't.
Laurel and Jack.
Yeah, Jack. Like you can't be dishonest about that stuff. Like people find out. Like I don't know. It seems like so sloppy to me. Like I feel like a real mole wouldn't have done that. I think they would have been more honest. But maybe her winning the mole, just her ego was so big where she's like, I'm just gonna fucking fool everyone on the show. And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if like the producers like whispered in her ear, like, no one's gonna know the show you're from. So if you don't want to say anything, don't say anything. Like maybe they planted a seed or something, and she's like, okay, maybe I'll do that. And I won't tell anyone.
And Fess is like, damn it, I wanted to plant the seed. Me. But back to the lying with Colleen. Kim is there. Like a lot of the confessionals are like partners together in the confessional. Not since Wes and Bananas and Total Madness have we had two people in a confessional together.
Oh, wow.
Was that our original Ride or Die's origin story? I mean, come on. But anyways, Kim is like, I don't think we should be lying. I don't like to lie in general. And I think your lie was like very bad. Basically, that's what he said to Colleen. And Colleen's like, oh, well. Yeah, German. Yeah.
No sprechen Sie Deutsch. Sorry.
Moving on. So TJ shows up. This is right before the fucking mission. And he's like, we live in a crazy world. Casey and Kenny are gone. Everyone acts shocked. They're like, oh my god.
Why was
it? And he's like,
He didn't say anything.
No, he didn't. Do you know why?
No.
They got COVID, I guess. Yeah.
Oh.
But Casey also said that everyone was sick, but they happened to get sick with COVID. That's weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they would have tested everybody though, right?
Yeah, but apparently they only got it somehow. Just the two of them.
Yeah, there's lots of stories like that where it's just like, well, why did they test positive, but the other people in the same household like don't test positive, but they all have the same symptoms? And it's just like, are these tests super accurate? I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
Yeah, so TJ's like, okay, we're taking out Casey and Kenny, one team. And he's like, I'm feeling nice. So he replaces that one team with two new teams, Nam and Emmy, and Olivia and Horatio. Now, okay. Right away.
When he said Nam and Emmy, I freaked out because I thought it was a different Emmy.
No, not that one. Oh, God.
And it wasn't.
I would freak out, but in the negative.
I was like, oh, thank God. I'm like, I don't know if I can deal with fucking 10 episodes of that Emmy girl again. So thank God it wasn't her. But I was really excited to see Nam. That was awesome.
Okay, so right away at that moment, I'm like, so you take out one team, but you bring in two teams? That doesn't make any sense. But that's just because we don't know that earlier Aneesa and James were taken out to make room for Jordan and Aneesa. Yeah, so there we go. Okay, this is what I have to say in general, though. Why do we have alternates anyways? I mean, spoilers, Bananas and Nany are going to show up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why did we have Nam not on the show anyways? Put them all on the show, and that way, when teams do drop, it's no big deal. There's just more, you know what I mean? Remember in Dirty 30, in the very first episode, there was only 29, actually. Remember CT was like held at the airport or something like that. But anyways, they had 29 people, and then they took out like 9 people in a gigantic
giant
whatever
purge.
It's called.
Bloodbath.
Yeah. It was so like it didn't make any sense. To me, it's like put everyone there. No more alternates, just put everyone on the thing and go that way.
Yeah, because if at like a certain point in the game, like once you need, okay, at this episode we need to have this many teams, you can don't do a purge episode 1 like they did that season or something like that, but like do one like an episode 7 or 6 or 7, something like that, and then you can have like, all right, well, this elimination is a special elimination, like, you know, 3 teams are going in and 2 teams are going home. Like, so you want to stay out of this elimination. And, you know, you make it like a big episode.
Yeah. There's so many things you could do. You could maybe not do the partner thing. I don't know. It's so bizarre the way they put things together. But let's move on to the mission. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Bolas for blood. Bolas. Basically, the Argentinian word for balls, I guess. Right? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know whose idea that was. Everyone's just like, so anybody here speak Argentinian? Like, there's a cast from people around the world. Like, none of them speak that. And I was like, no.
Yeah, that is weird. Oh, we'll get into translations a little bit later. But it's going to be 3 questions. You run through the mud, and 3 questions, and it's math, basically. This is a glorified, I was going to say a glorified puzzle, but I think I consider math to be a puzzle for some reason.
But this wasn't like difficult math. This was like, you know, multiply the number of letters in both of your names. So like you have 5 and I have 5. So then the answer is 25. So it's not super difficult like other stuff where it's multiplication and division and you have like 6 different steps to it.
Right.
It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, the most physical part is going through the mud, but that wasn't that bad. It's just you randomly have to find the correct number or
Yeah.
whatever. Okay, so I say this is a glorified puzzle. I've been saying this now, where it's like all of a sudden the challenge are putting puzzles everywhere. Like especially with Challenge USA, like every episode there was a puzzle. Before
Yeah.
that, in All Stars 3, everything was a puzzle. Okay, so then I decided to do a little bit of research where I'm like, when did this start to happen? Basically, it started to happen in Final Reckoning, where it went from 4 puzzles, missions out of 14, let's say, right? Now, and then it just kept on going up until recently with the double agents and spies, lies, and allies, where it was 7 puzzle missions out of 14. Half are now puzzles, excluding All Stars and Challenge USA, where it's like almost all of it, the majority were puzzles. Episode 1, we got math. Like I said, I count that as a fucking puzzle. So we might look at Ride or Dies as just another puzzle infested thing. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's very strange. Like, I've always preferred the things where it's just you have a starting line and a finish line and that's it. Or, you have some object and you have to balance that object until you get it to the finish line. You remember, like, I think it was like a Cutthroat where they had to throw the fruit over the thing and catch it on this big, or no, there was balls. I think they were throwing balls over. They had to balance it and bring it up the hill and put it in the thing. Like stuff like that, where it's just you're trying to use teamwork and balancing stuff and like race the other team and beat them. I prefer stuff like that. And I just like, okay, do this math problem and then, race and find a ball and do the math problem. It's not as fun.
I think if you want to win this, you got to be one of the great puzzle masters. And like I said, 7 out of 14 for spies, double agents, and spy, lies, and allies. Who's a really good puzzle dude, and who won both those back to back? CT. Yeah. So like Carmaria, as soon as you do come back, you're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to be sweeping up. Yeah. Oh my God, 10 minutes. But yeah, it's fucking crazy. So let's move on though. Just to when this is happening, Colleen, who's the German, she's like, "What does this word mean? It's cumulative."
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Dude, the challenge has had like it's international now. English is not their first fucking language. Challenge producers, like what the fuck? We were just complaining about bolas for blood. If they're like, hey, bolas this, I'm like, I don't know what a bolas is, and then Argentina would be, well, then maybe you should get the fuck out of here if you can't speak the language.
I felt like they did that on purpose, and like the reaction they got was exactly what they wanted. They're like, yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like, why would you? It wouldn't be worded that way. And they even said it like, if you were writing that in German, you just would have said, add up your ages. It's that simple.
Exactly.
It's like, for them wording it that way, that was on purpose to try and confuse the international teams. They're trying to rig it for the Americans.
It's fucked up. Also, what was going on? Like they have to. One of the questions, like add all the letters of your names together, right? So Chauncey looks over at Amber B, and he touches her chest because her name is on her chest. He's like, AMBER, that's 5. And she kind of stops for a moment. And I'm like, hey, Chauncey, you piece of shit. I'm like, oh, yeah, they're dating. So I guess it's not that bad. It just reminds me of a joke where I'm like, because originally I was like, Chauncey is brought up as her boyfriend, right? And maybe he's like, I didn't know we were dating. You know, I thought we were just.
I was
just in it for. I was just in it for Amber's bees. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So this is a big thing, and this is very weird, right? So Nelson doesn't win, right? Because he gets his own age wrong.
But they bring up his mission record.
Yeah. Why? It's brought up more than once.
They were really throwing him under the bus there.
Remember what they were doing that with Anissa on like Double Agents, where they're like, Anissa never has won ever. I always thought that was weird too. They were doing that to her at the very beginning of the episode, and she ends up winning that mission. But I'm like, that doesn't mean she's gonna win this whole fucking thing, and she didn't.
Yeah. Wait, and with the Nelson thing, like, and Nelson even kind of said it himself. I think it was Nelson, where he's like, I don't know, it's not about winning the dailies. Like, the only thing you have to do, like getting first in the dailies, is not what you want, because that puts you in the position of power, and you're gonna have to make enemies where you have to call out 3 different teams. Like, you're gonna piss people off. Like, all you need to do is not get last. Like, and especially in the first half of the season, on any of these seasons, you just want to be in the middle of the pack. You don't want to be seen as weak, but you don't want to be seen as a threat. You just want to ride the middle. And that's what Nelson does. And that's how Nelson gets very far in the game. And usually, you know, he'll get to a final, or if he gets eliminated in an elimination, he's, you know, halfway into the season at least.
How do you explain not knowing his own age?
Who? Nelson?
Yeah.
He didn't know his own age?
That's how we got it wrong.
Oh, God.
Okay, to be fair, though, I'll say that.
All right, I take it all back. I can't defend Nelson. Sorry.
We don't know if he just turned 33. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, I've been 32 for the whole year. I got used to it. You know what I mean? We don't know that, because I still consider myself beep, even though my age is beep. It just changed October 3rd. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. Wait, how old are you?
I'm
38.
You should know that. Yeah, I am.
Okay. I don't
know. So yeah, I mean, if like I still consider myself 37, but I would have gotten it wrong. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, because I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. People tell me like, hey, you're technically this age, and you should be getting your shit together. I'm like, yeah, fuck
Wait,
you.
Are you 40?
I am 40. Yes.
Oh shit! I was joking. Oh my god.
Raven older than TJ. No, TJ's 45.
TJ's 25. Like he does this move. That's what the kids do. That's TJ's 25.
Oh god. Raven and Johnny win. Jay and Michelle were like this close from beating them. They came pretty close. I think because a ball fell off of Raven's thing, so she had to go back. So yeah, they barely won. By the way, Jay and Michelle, I like them. They have some camaraderie, which is both fun, a little scripted, maybe. I don't know. Like, I feel like they're playing it up a little bit, like Devin and Tori, just because they're both TV personalities. They know how to turn it up a little bit, right?
Yeah, but they do it in a likable, fun way. Tori and Devin, like Tori and Devin hate each other, and then they're like, but now we're best friends, and I'm like, no, you guys fucking hate each other. Like, in no way have I ever seen any interaction between Tori and Devin where they're acting like friends. Like, they will talk strategy, and they will talk like pure business on the challenge where they're not fighting, but they don't act like friendly where they're palling around. Like, even like Jay and Michelle, you can say it's kind of fake, but like we don't even see like a fake. I don't know. It's like a super fake version of that with Devin and Tori, because it's like it's only in the confessionals. It's never just like around the house or like while they're partying.
Yeah, and by Okay, so I mentioned before, like how some teams are just put together just to be there. Turbo is pretending to have a girlfriend. That's fucked up, right? So all these other teams, there's gonna be a lot of bullshit. I don't know if you read that list. It was on stopbeingpolite.com, our go-to website. We seem to mention it all the time, but yeah, you didn't see that article?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so yeah, they basically expose a lot of teams of just getting thrown together. Apparently, Kim and Colleen, they were thrown together just because they're both from Germany.
Makes sense. But they're ride or die, they're in it to the end. That's I don't know. I don't understand the ride or die thing at all because I'm like, none of these people seem like ride or die.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. There's no real sense of like, I will do anything for you. You know what I mean? Like that
yeah,
to me, that's a ride or die. Like passion, you stick up for your friend like crazy. I don't know. I've known ride or dies. They might be annoying because they have
yeah.
each other's back, like hardcore. You're like, okay, ease up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like it is possible to do a ride or die, but you would have to do it like it'd have to be like Nani and Casey. They could be a ride or die. It would have to be Corey and Nelson would have to be like a ride or die.
Exactly, dude. Yes.
You'd have to have I'm not even sure who would be with Bananas for a ride or die. Like I guess
Um,
Nani's
him and
fine. Like that one's
his
relatively
bobblehead.
close. Oh, his
His
bobblehead.
bobblehead. uh, no, who his ride or die is? Leroy.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Bananas will fucking kill him, and Leroy will be just fine with it. He's like, I know you didn't mean it.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Bananas was eventually replaced with Cam. And Cam's like, oh fucking yeah. Oh shit, this guy doesn't think for himself. All right, I'm gonna swoop in there and marry his ass. And
Oh
yeah.
no, poor Leroy. Yeah.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh my god, you fucker! All right, Raven and Johnny win. And Johnny's a little tearful in the confessional. He's like, "Oh my god, I hope my dad watches this or something like that, right?" And
Yeah.
actually, there's a lot of tears in this episode. Just people talking, saying like, "Oh, I like you," and you're like, "I never heard that before." Really? Well, maybe you guys aren't for real. Maybe that person's just saying that for the cameras, and you're not really that close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I felt about it.
No one's ever been this nice to me before. It's like, well, shit. It's a pretty low bar.
Okay, so let's get into it. Though it's kind of interesting. I don't know. How do you feel about this? The winners are Johnny and Raven, so they have to in the interrogation 4 teams to discuss. They have options.
It was
Too
14.
much power, too little.
Like the way this is set up, like you're creating big battle lines. Like you can't really tiptoe and like play the middle. I feel like you are like on one side or the other, you know? So it's I mean it's a decent amount of power, but like at the same time, there's only so much you can do. If it goes to a draw, then it goes to the draw, as we find out. So it's interesting.
Okay, so we haven't really touched on this because Johnny and Raven, they're both rookies, and they're only going to put in one pair of full-on rookies to throw off the scent that they want to get rid of the veterans, right? We'll
Mm-hmm.
eventually have a scene where there's basically a rookie revolution too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jay's involved in that. Jay and Michelle, Johnny and Raven, Kim and Colleen. yeah, the majority, like all these rookies are like, hey, we can make it happen this time. Let's fucking band together, which is always good. I always want the rookies to think for themselves and stuff. So Johnny and Raven, though, they have to interrogate 4 teams. The first one is Kim and Colleen, and I think they basically say we're going to work together. So there's no surprises there. The second one is Laurel and Jack. And Jack is the one who's like, hey, Colleen has been telling everyone that she's from Love Island, Germany, and she's not. She's the mole. But I don't think that's going to dissuade Johnny and Raven, I think they're going to stay true to the rookie thing.
Yeah. I was fully expecting Laurel to fucking just rip them a new one, and she didn't. Like, normally Laurel, she won't pull any punches. Like, she'll let you have it. But, like, she was just kind of quiet and didn't really say much. Because, is it Johnny and Raven? What's his name?
Yeah.
Like, they seemed to they were going to all the veteran teams and being like, well, we want assurances, because if we don't throw you in, we want you to, we'll scratch your back, you scratch our back. And it was just like, you guys are trying to get a little too much out of this. Like, all you're doing is pissing people off at this point, because this is the first week. If you don't pick them, like, just tell them straight out in the thing, like, hey, we're not going to pick you, but you don't have to say, like, we're going to help you out, you can help us out, because then it makes it seem like you're telling them what to do, and people don't like that. Like, just tell them, hey, don't worry, we had to pick this many teams, so we just kind of picked some random teams. You seem like cool people, so we wanted to talk to you and just see where you are in the game, but we want to work together. Like, that's all you got to say. But, like, instead, they're, like, trying to bargain, and they're trying to act like they're using this power a little too much, especially as rookies. I think you need to tread a little bit lighter.
I think all good points, but I also think the fact that you have to talk to 4 teams, 8 people, you're going to come across as power hungry no matter what. I think this is the most double-edged thing that's ever been given to winners. You know what I mean? You could win, but you're going to piss off 4 teams, or you're going to make them nervous. You're going to, you know what I mean? Because, like, you could still choose to put one of the 4, but then you don't control who else is going in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, then the next 3 go into a draw. So it's not like you can just interview them and then set them free and not send them into elimination. There's a chance they're going to go in. So the only people you're ever going to call in are people that you're okay with sending home.
And, okay, so you mentioned before about how Laurel might have gone off and stuff, but she doesn't. Well, because she has her fucking, what do you call it? That emotional support dog that is Jack, right? Yeah.
Jack the lap dog.
The lap dog that could bite if you prompt him. He's like, don't make me add.
He seems like a perfect compliment to Laurel. Like, he's loud in his own way, which is, like, distracting from, like, Laurel's anger issues that she seems to have. Like, because like, times in this episode, especially, like, when they get called down to, like, elimination, like, Laurel is standing there and she's kind of just, like, pacing and, like, moving in a way where she just looks like she's gonna, like, tear someone's head off. And, like, I'm watching her and I'm just, like, nervous and kind of afraid, and I'm like, oh my god, Laurel's gonna hurt somebody.
Devin and Tori get called down. I didn't write anything for these next 2 teams. Do you remember anything that happened? I think I remember them being very like, yeah, we could maybe form, they were very
confrontational.
Not even that. They were, because Johnny and Raven were like, hey, if we do this, will you do that? And they didn't necessarily say, yes, absolutely. Oh my God, we are now partners. They were like, yeah, I mean, if we were to somehow, who knows? Maybe they never said yeah. They were just sort of like him and Han.
Devin definitely did. Devin said, like, yeah, he said, yeah, we're willing to work with you. We're okay with that. And then it cuts to the confessional, and he's like, yeah, we're not going to work with them. And they just started laughing. Really? Yeah.
Oh, God.
They're like, they want to work together. They're like, we don't know them. They're like, no.
Okay, yeah, because I really don't remember too much. I don't remember any deals being made for sure, so that makes sense if that's what happened. Next, Kayla and Sam. I don't remember Kayla even being remotely open to making like she didn't make it look obvious. To me, Kayla, like when you piss her off, she can't really hide too much. I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
But she was saying to her fiance or her husband, just shut your mouth, be quiet, don't say anything for like 2 weeks, and we'll make it through this show. And unfortunately, it did not work out. But still, her strategy was the right one. Where in the beginning, you kind of just need to shut your mouth and don't say anything to piss anyone off. But it didn't matter ultimately for her.
From what I remember when they were at the bar, where Sam was like, "How about I just schmooze with them? You know what I mean? Like talk them over, put in a good word or something, right?" And Kayla said no. So we didn't, right? But they were the ones that were put in for sure, right? Yeah, they were the ones that were put in by Johnny and Raven at the elimination. So part of me thinks this is kind of like Wes and Nany, where Wes is like, listen, Nany and I have to work together. I am just going to let her take the reins. I will follow you. You just call the shots. Nany's terrible at that. Don't listen to Nany. Nany's, horrible. So Sam is like, okay, I'm going to listen to Kayla. Even though at the beginning, didn't he say, like, she's used to losing these things? Do you remember that?
Yeah. But you got to the final in All-Stars 3. It was their best season.
Yes, that's true. So that's true. But I love the fact that this husband of hers of 3 months, they've only been married 3 months. He's like, this chick, you don't win. He's trying to be honest. He's trying to say, like, okay, but all right, fine. Happy wife, happy life. But I have a theory that maybe we could talk to Johnny and Raven while they're drunk and be like, hey, all respect, let's be, maybe he could have thought of something, but he didn't. He didn't go up there and try and schmooze. Kayla was kind of like what's that word? I can't think of it tonight. God damn it. I don't know. Either way, though, I feel like overall, spoilers, since Kayla and Sam are going to be going, Sam should have been allowed to do a little bit more, but
yeah, in hindsight, yeah. But the thing is I think Kayla felt a little bit of security in the fact that there's 4 teams that were called in there. So she thought, well, there's a 1 in 4 chance, like, we'll be fine. Like, just try not to say anything and it'll blow over. But
okay.
That whole bar scene, I'll be honest, I checked out and I just played on my phone and I didn't listen to anything that happened because I don't know. It was just so. It started off with like them like all like dancing like this, doing the worst dance moves ever in front of the camera, and there's weird music playing, and then they're all like, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm just looking at my phone. I can't even watch the TV right now. Like it was so cringe. I couldn't.
All right. Okay. Well, let me ask you this, though. You kind of surpassed us, went over this. Kayla and Sam, they're newlyweds, Dave. Yep. Married for 3 months. Would you, right now, you have a fiance, would you bring on Brooke as your ride or die? Or do you have another female? It has to be a female, apparently. Do you have another female partner in mind that you would bring on? They're like, Dave, we got to have you. You just got to provide some female. It doesn't have to be anyone really. Yeah.
I don't really have anyone else, so it would have to be Brooke. So
you could have lied and we're like, me and Evelyn are so tight. I mean, she likes to pretend that we've never met and that
no, see what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring Brooke, but then she'll get COVID, and then they'll have to get rid of her, and then all of a sudden I'll be partnered with Anissa or something. I don't know.
I don't even know Brooke, but I would prefer her over Anissa.
I know that's the sad thing. It's like, oh, God. If I did get a new partner, they wouldn't be any better.
All right, let's move on to elimination, which is called the zone. But before that, we're going to talk about the new draw, which is like you take knives out of the stone, and if you pull it out, you're fucking King Arthur, man.
Yeah, the sword and the stone. I honestly, I thought that I thought they were going to be kitchen knives. So the fact that it was a dagger that was more than 10 inches long, I was like really impressed. I was like, oh, bravo. Like, because remember when they had the skulls and they're like this big and they're like, it's a little wooden toy that we painted. And you're like, oh my God. It's like the prop department, like apparently didn't make the trip and they just went to some shop and got some like little wooden Mexican skulls and then painted them white and black. Like,
okay, so you pull out those swords and they were blank at first. I'm like, oh shit. So I thought the blade that was, it says kill or die.
I thought it was going to be blood red, and that means,
yeah.
You're on the chopping block.
Oh, that would have been awesome. But instead it says safety. So that's Kim and Colleen. They are safe. And they're like, what is this word? Safe. No, they know safe. Okay, but this is the thing, though. This is the crazy, halfway decent. I think I might like this sort of twist, where then they get to decide who to save, Laurel and Jack, or Devin and Tori. I kind of like it. It's chaotic, but I like the idea that now Kim and Colleen can try and make an alliance a little bit themselves, even though Laurel and Jack with 2 Ks, not 3 Ks, that would be bad. Jack with 2 Ks ratted Colleen and Kim out. Remember that shit in interrogation? Yeah.
Did we ever see her reaction to that?
Whose?
Colleen. Like, does she ever like talk about like, yeah, you guys caught me, I lied?
No one's called her out on that yet. No one has.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that happened in the bar scene and I missed it or what.
No, I don't believe that was called out publicly yet. It was just interrogation where Jack told Johnny and Raven. But anyways, they save Laurel and Jack because primarily Jack is a rookie. And again, this is Rookie Revolution 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had the American Revolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have we had a second American Revolution?
Almost.
What do you call that? Almost.
But the South lost the Civil War, so no.
Okay, so how do you feel about that? Were you hoping that Colleen and Kim would save Devin and Tori or Laurel? Like, did they make the right decision? Because Laurel, to me, is better than Tori and Devin combined.
I disagree. I think Tori and Devin are one of the best teams there.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
Collectively, I know they're good.
Collectively, I know they're good. Tori might be the best female there. It's either Tori or Laurel, and I know that Devin's really solid. Jack, I don't know because I haven't seen him, so I give the edge to Tori and Devin. I thought when she saves Laurel, I was just like, to me, it didn't make any sense because I'm just like, you know what? Like, it doesn't matter if Laurel is on your side or against you. Like, she will go after you when it's convenient for her. Like, that's how she plays the game. She plays it very cold blooded. She doesn't take emotion in account at all or friendships. She will cut ties and do what's best for her. So, having a partnership or an alliance with her, that doesn't make any sense. Like, at least with Devin and Tori, I feel like they would work with you, to a certain point. At a certain point they'll, go their own way. But I don't think they would, pause and not work with you at least, for a couple episodes. But who knows?
Well, yeah, I mean, so we're both kind of in agreement where it's like, I would have taken out, I would have saved Devin and Tori over Laurel. I don't care that she has an inexperienced rookie with her. Get her out if you can,
Yeah.
Although, shit, that is versing Kayla and her husband. I don't know. It was tough decision. Okay, so let's get into the elimination itself. You move, I move. Devin and Tori defeat Kayla and Sam. Kayla says because Devin has this as his coffee table. His coffee table moves and there's like little beads and there's a maze. So he does this like every fucking day in his household, That's what Kayla has to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a coffee table like that, but I've seen like the foosball coffee tables, and I can guarantee you, like, you're gonna play with it a lot that first 3 days you own it, and then you're never gonna touch it again. It's one of those kind of things. So I don't feel like Devin's really good at it because he has a little miniature one on his coffee table. Like, this is a life-size thing. It's, I don't know, 10 feet across or whatever the hell it was, like 8 feet. And they're standing on a balance thing that rocks it back and forth. Like, it was communication.
It looked fun.
Yeah, it just came down to communication and timing and working with your partner, identifying what ball you were trying to move where. And Devin and Tori are really good. Like, they have lots of experience in this game. And Kayla is working with an inexperienced partner. Plus the fact that Kayla is probably not as good as Tori. So.
All right. Yeah. You didn't think that like marriage, the love between the two would conquer all?
No. I mean, when that's your honeymoon going on the challenge, like, that's a shitty honeymoon.
That is. Yeah, they said that was their honeymoon, right? Or what was jokingly. That a joke? Was Sam was like,
yeah. TJ officiated the wedding. He's like, sorry, production. What was my line again?
Oh, here's the little thing though. Before
I don't know.
Before this started, Dave, Devin and Tori, they're talking to each other, and they're like, "We called each other Dave because we woke up hungover." And Tori's like, "You look like a frat boy named Dave," and Devin's like, "So do you." Do you take offense to that, Dave? Do you feel like your frat boy ways?
No, but I feel like Tori was pulling one over on Devin. Like, were they involved in like hooking up? And then Tori like called him Dave by mistake. And then she's like, "Oh, you just look like a Dave." Meanwhile, she was actually seeing this other guy on the side named Dave, which was me. And she accidentally called him that. And now it's like, 10 months into this ongoing inside joke. But, Devin's not in on the joke. Only I and Tori am.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is perfect. And we're moving on to the last portion of the episode, where I thought this was an advertisement for the next episode, because all of a sudden the video got weird, the angles got weird, everyone was in slow motion. Like, Bananas and Nany show up as a team, not a replacement team, but a last edition team for the sake of the shock and awe of it all. I don't know. Yeah. I was underwhelmed though.
is total bullshit, is what it is. Because this entire theme of this episode was the rookies won, the rookies are in power, rookie alliance, rookie revolution. They're like, hey, we just got rid of a team with a vet on it. We got rid of Kayla. This couldn't have gone better. And we got rid of a veteran team. And what do? They just bring in another veteran team to replace them. But they didn't bring in all the vets, all 3 teams that they have. They just brought in one. So next episode, if the rookies win again and they send home another vet team, they'll just be like, oh, here's another team of vets that are just going to replace them. Like, no matter what the rookies do, they will never have the numbers because production has another veteran team waiting in the wings to bring out and be like, oh, sorry. I feel like production is really screwing over the rookies here.
Jesus, great points.
Because all of their strategy that the rookies were doing, Jay is counting the numbers in the house. Like, there's this many numbers. Like, we could do this. Like, this can work mathematically. But they were not accounting for the fact that there was 3 rookie teams in the waiting.
Yes, and then also Jordan and Anissa. Yeah, they will be those replacements if another veteran team is taken away. Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, but I was expecting all those veteran teams because they did a pre-show where there's Darrell and Veronica, and then Jordan and Anissa.
That's right.
Johnny and Nany. So I was expecting all 3 of those teams to show up at the end of the episode, but it was only Bananas and Nany. So I was like, where are the other 2 teams? So that only leads me to believe that they're going to come out one team will come up the next episode and then a team the next episode. So Darrell and Veronica show up in episode 3 or something like that. They just didn't have to perform in the missions or be up for elimination for 3 episodes. That's a huge advantage. It's not fair.
Exactly. Okay, so then this brings up a little bit of the UFC, Nate versus Khamzat, when things were moved around and oh, you didn't make weight, but because there was a big conspiracy theory of how no, this is a WWE sort of move. You know what I mean? Oh, they have this big fight, so now this guy's going to fight this guy who actually people want to see more. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's all about the theatrics of moving it around and stuff like that. God damn it. That's so annoying. Because I didn't take that into consideration about, if the veterans are low, they'll put in another team. I just thought it was the challenge trying to suck off the dick of Banana's ego by saying listen, dude, you're gonna show up at the end of the first episode as a twist. It's as a twist of what? Nothing. You're here. You are the twist. That's how I felt. They were just oh my God, Bananas is amazing and shit. Could you imagine this is their very first season and this is their very first episode 1 of this, and they bring them on like that. They're going to be shrugging their shoulders. They're okay, we just had 2 people come in, so
it's so you're gonna eliminate a team and then bring a new team out every episode. Is that the premise of the show? That's what I would think if I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
What didn't make sense to me is they just had a pre-show with Bananas and Nany on it. So us viewers, it's not a twist to the viewers because we already knew they were going to be there if you watch the pre-show. So then it's a twist to the people in the house, I guess, because they didn't account for it in their strategy of the game. But I don't know. It doesn't really seem fair, and it doesn't really seem to – it doesn't do it enough as a surprise for the audience to do it, for it to make sense.
The producers might be entering an area just like the UFC, where they're okay, what happens when someone misses weight? maybe now we could use that as a storyline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if someone gets sick? Well, what if they don't get sick? What if we tell Casey, hey, you're showing up for one episode, you and your brother, and we're going to have you dip out. After that, we're just going to say you got sick. You'll get paid for that episode. It's all good, bro. And then we're going to bring in Nam and Emmy to replace. You know what I mean? So that will be our big pop of like, oh my God, what the fuck is happening? You know what I mean? What if the producers are, they're so used to people having to dip out and have to scramble to put someone there that now they're like, no, this is part of the show now.
Just writing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Ugh.
I heard that Josh Martinez was a replacement for this season as well.
Oh shit.
But he didn't. Wow. But he never got the call. Like, they got Nam out there, but then Josh never got to show up. Like, he just sat in a hotel room for like a week and then he got sent home. Which I'm fine with, because like I don't really want to see Josh. Like, I don't like him. But it really sucks for him, like, to just, I don't know. Well, maybe it wouldn't be that bad. You get to hang out in a nice resort for a week and get free catering and all you can eat and drink. Does sound kind of sweet. But if you're expecting to be on the show and then like you never get to be on the show, that's kind of lame.
Again, going back to the UFC, did you hear about like how Dariush is like, I'm the replacement if Oliveira misses weight or Makhachev misses weight, I'm there. But then Alexander Volkanovski, he's like, or is it Volkov? What is it? Is it Volkanovski?
Volkanovski, yep, you're right.
Okay. He's like, I'm actually the replacement, so I'll get the title shot. You know what I mean? I just feel like these weird things that would make the UFC scramble and tear their hair out, they're now using that as like a storyline, or like they're going to acknowledge it before it can happen to them. And I feel like that's what the producers of the challenge are doing now, where they're like, hey, we can't look like fools. We're going to make it look like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. If Dariush in that situation has to be the replacement fighter, because Volkanovski is a featherweight champion. And if you're going to do a featherweight champion versus a lightweight champion, you don't just throw that in, 2 days before the fight takes place because somebody misses weight. Like, you need to build that fight up and make it a fucking event, because that is an event. You have a champion versus champion. You can't just throw that together last minute. Like, that's crazy.
Listeners, viewers, you are now listening and viewing to Battle of the MMA podcast. See, like, this is another interest of mine where I could just talk about MMA forever, like I can the challenge, but we're not doing that. All right.
Well, we could, because when it comes to the Khamzat thing, I think that Khamzat and his team called up Dana White and told him like 2 weeks prior to the fight, like, hey, we don't think he's going to be able to make weight. Like, he's too big. He's not going to be able to make weight. And Dana's like, all right, you have to do everything to make weight. I want you to make weight. But then as it came near and they like updated Dana, they're like, he's not going to make weight. I think Dana started to make preliminary plans as to things he could change if he does miss weight. So when it happened, he was kind of prepared for it. So I don't think he completely pulled it out of his ass. I think he was kind of prepared, like, okay, if this does happen, let's be prepared. And it probably wasn't really Dana. It was probably more Sean Shelby, the matchmaker. But,
Oh, God, this does not belong on this podcast. But I was going to say, who fought the Leech? Rodriguez, right? That dude?
Yeah.
Okay, there goes another, like, this could tie into that, where they're like, they knew Khamzat was probably not going to make it. So they told Rodriguez, they're like, dude, say you're only going to cut, or you want to catch weight, right? So then Holland is like, okay, I'll meet you there. I'll be around that weight, right? So they knew ahead of time, at least Rodriguez did, to like kind of like lighten up a little bit so Holland will go up. So then when the switch happens, Khamzat will go against Holland. Rodriguez will then go against the smaller Li Jingliang, the Leech. Yeah. I could go on and on, but this is not the show, guys. This is just a taste of what could be Battle of the MMA. I don't know. That is not the title of the podcast, by the way, if it does happen. But either way, they brought in Bananas and Nany as the replacement at the end of the episode. Like, who gives a shit? Or I mean, people give a shit, but like, we already covered all this. That was the end of the episode.
Yeah, it's fine that they're on the season. I'm glad that they're there. We haven't seen Bananas in a couple seasons. I'm glad he's on the show. But at the same time, it's a weird way to just bring him out at the end of the episode and kind of kill the momentum of the rookie storyline that we saw the entire episode. Like,
it's all to pay, just to make him feel like a king. Producers, okay, fans, Bananas fans, you think you love Bananas? No. Producers love Bananas. Holy fuck. You wouldn't even know Bananas if it wasn't for the producers' love for him, right? Like, they are the biggest fucking groupies of all time. I don't know what Bananas is like off of camera, but he must be wonderful. He eventually roped in Wes. What the fuck?
Yeah. And did Bananas talk in production and be like, hey, I'll come on the next season with a challenge, but only if CT is not there? Like, did he get that in writing? Like, did he call up CT and be like, bro, you know I can't beat you. You got to take this season off. That way I'll come on and I'll win.
Producers like, we can't guarantee that unless we give him some sort of movie to make with Tom Berenger and yeah.
I forgot about that. Is that coming out sometime?
I don't know. I saw a trailer for it. Ugh, dude.
Oh, it's straight to daytime TV. Like, it's not even gonna make a VHS. It's just like
the editing. It looked really weird. I don't know if budgets were cut and this was done during the quarantine times and shit like that. So I don't know. I hope it turns out. But
there's definitely some weird 2020 movies out there where you're like, oh god, this is bad.
Yeah, exactly. So either way, that's the end of the episode. We took a gigantic veer to the left or to the far right, alt-right, I don't know. But that was the end of the episode. Like, subscribe, comment. This was Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud
and Hardcore Dave.